Welcome back to the channel, and today we're back over in warwhales checking out one of the replays from our supercell clan war league wars. It's going to be a Sui Lalo video, and it's going to be a Sui Lalo with an electron coming out of the battle blimp. And it's not a spectacular base by any means. However, the base reading on it was pretty spectacular in my opinion. It's going to be red 5 or red 6 in this case. And he's going to be hitting this base in a very interesting way. And I thought it kind of made a really good representation of how to kind of break a base down that you don't see very often and kind of make it kind of expose its weaknesses. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at right now. Before we get into it, I just want to go ahead and say thank you guys for all the support. I've really been kind of overwhelmed with how much support I've been getting. I've never had a Twitter or anything like that. I finally made a Twitter for my YouTube channel, and all the support from those guys has been crazy. All the support from you guys on YouTube has been out of this world. So I really appreciate it. I promise to keep trying to bring you some something fresh. You know, I'm trying to limit the amount of hybrid and Yeti Smash, and every time I see one of these like a Sui Lalo kind of videos, I want to bring it to you because it's not something you guys are seeing very often. However, it's something that you guys are seeing often at the top level of the game, and that's because with good base identification and a lot of practice, this attack can work very well on these bases. So again, thank you for all the support. We're going to get into breaking down this base and seeing what we can see before we watch the replay. So on this base, you'll notice, first thing, ground expos for all 4. All right. Then again, sweeper pointed this way, sweeper pointed somewhere over there. So pretty bad sweeper locations in my opinion. Kind of setting the base up for a Lalo from the top side. Now this is Supercell Clan War League, so 2 stars are kind of imperative to making sure you get these wins. We're only in Champs 3 for some reason. We don't really take this stuff too serious in warwhales, and we just bomb every season. So this season's looking good. Barring any like catastrophe in the last war, we've kind of buckled down. We're definitely gonna get promoted to this one, and we'll be in Champs 2 next season. But yeah, so both sweepers are pointing this way. I don't really know what I'm assuming this sweeper is to protect like an electron into the scatter shots here, which makes sense because both scatter shots are kind of within balloon and E-drag range. But this scatter doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, or the sweeper. But we're going to see that he's also using a dead space channel here to try to separate the top side of his base from the bottom side. And again, these really wide bases kind of leave themselves open to a Lalo, because with loons, you kind of want to avoid everything, massing and clumping up. And on these wide bases, it's pretty easy to prevent that. So with the sweepers pointing there, what we can see is obviously we got double scatter shots down here. We got the Royal Champ down here, Archer Queen up here next to the Inferno and this air defense. And then we have 2 air defenses kind of protecting the Town Hall. This isn't the greatest protection for something like a Lalo. It's not a terrible idea for something like dragons, because dragons will kind of get caught up on a bunch of this trash, leaving these air defenses to kind of pick these dragons off. So it's not terrible, but again, this isn't a base I would recommend you copying or anything like that. So where can we find good Sui value? Well, down here at 6, we can get quite a few buildings with the Royal Champ. The problem here is definitely going to be the enemy RC. However, the goal is not really to get these defenses down. The goal is to get this sweeper down. And the way you're going to do that is your RC is going to chain to the nearest defenses. So if you notice, if you start your RC here and it goes here and these 2 buildings go down, whenever you chain, it's going to go this way, right? So you're going to get these sweepers down because the Seeking Shield obviously one-shots a sweeper. And the enemy RC will end up killing your RC. But if your goal is just to get the sweepers down, It's a very realistic goal. So that's good Sui value sweepers. And then, so if you get both sweepers down and you have all 4 expos on ground, I mean, you're really starting to look better and better for your lalo. All right, so there's that Sui. Now over here with the Archer Queen, because you know your Archer Queen is something that you really want to get down. I also believe on this attack that the RC ends up taking out the enemy RC, which is huge because the enemy Royal Champ and the enemy Archer Queen are kind of your 2 most important things that you're looking to take down before you do a lalo, especially for something like a Sui lalo. Now, if you're using like an Electron and you're going in for the enemy Queen, that's one way to deal with her, but you still kind of have to deal with the enemy RC because she does a ton of damage to balloons. So with the sweepers pointing where they're sweeping, or sweepers pointing where they're pointing, you're gonna look see how can we get loons to path in to this town hall and then kind of move through the base, right? So you're looking at coming in from the top side and then moving kind of through the core. Sweepers will be down, so you don't have to worry about anything blowing this way. So you're gonna kind of be supporting coming this way, right? And your lalo comes through and then kind of sweeps down to the bottom, kind of ending on these scatter shots. All right, so that's like your general where you want to path. Now, that is very difficult to do without taking down the 12 o'clock buildings here, because your lalo, you're asking a lot out of your lalo to start from 12 all the way down to 9 and then wrap around towards 6. So that's a pretty big lalo because just a lot of spells going to be needed to get through here. So the way you do that is, and then I'll just cover this real quick. 3 o'clock, cannon, mortar, bomb tower, cannon. Not really a lot of stuff you have to worry about for a lalo, right? So you don't have to worry about clearing that. If you can end at 3 o'clock, that ending right there is very minimal damage on your balloons. So red's gonna opt to use his king and his queen. I believe he does like a 2 loon drop here to get the mortar down. That cuts his funnel, and then his king's gonna walk in here and then target the enemy Archer Queen. So that's how he's gonna deal with the enemy Archer Queen, and then he's gonna have his queen coming in here, kind of following the same path, taking out this trash and getting these buildings here. Doesn't get the air defense, but I think he was aiming to get the air defense, but the queen kind of follows the trash ring up this way and only gets these 2 inside buildings, but not a big deal. So we'll go ahead and mark all those. We'll go ahead and mark off everything we're going to try to get with our Sui, and then we'll look at the base, what it looks like after. So there we go. All right, so this is kind of what your Sui has taken out. So since we're using a lalo, we'll go ahead and just scratch the trash ring off because loons obviously don't path towards the trash. All right, so you can start seeing, rip me. Sorry guys, do it real quick. Tiny screen. All right, so as you can see, kind of have the makings of the pathing that you want coming through this base. Now, there's a lot of buildings out here at 9 o'clock, all running down towards 6 that are defenses that kind of run the risk of forcing your loons to not go in towards the town hall. Because if you look at the way your loons here will path, if you have loons come in to this cannon, they'll go to the air defense. But some are probably going to split off towards this archer tower, and then some are those are going to follow this way. So no loons that you don't directly target to this cannon are going to go into the town hall. They're all going to go this way, right? And then in, and then here, and then that's just too much backtracking for loons. You want your loons to kind of all go this way. Now from the top side, with everything he got with his Sui, I think he got the wizard tower, I'm not 100% sure, but you can see that the pathing is much better to the town hall because he can come in here and everything will collapse in. Again, these expos are on ground, so you don't have to worry about it at all. So with those expos being on ground, if you actually count the amount of defenses that are going to be targeting his balloons, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's only 4 defenses on the whole top side of this base, other than the town hall, that are going to be targeting his loons. So he doesn't have to rush and get in here with spells. You know, he doesn't have to like pre-haste or anything like that. He doesn't have to. He can take his time on the lalo. You know, make sure you're counting out the loons like I covered in my other lalo video. You know, you're gonna need quite a few. You know, 4, 4, 4, maybe 5, just to kind of path in here behind your hounds. He's gonna be bringing 3 hounds for this because the hounds are gonna kind of sit on these air defenses, and you want them to not only tank for a little while, but you're gonna kind of rely on those pups popping in this area to trigger the town hall. Now, one thing that I struggle with lalo is I would start my loons here, and then I would try to like quickly get loons in here to, you know, all meet up, and that's not really the best way to do it. It's like an old school style lalo where you kind of do like this big like L drop, and you have like your big side here with everything coming this way, and then these loons kind of like acting like a sandwich, closing everything in. That doesn't really work at Town Hall 13. Town Hall 13, you want to be like a little bit more surgical. So the way we prevent that on a base like this is we start with the hound here, and we start with the loons here. And what that's going to do is you start working these buildings in, because again, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 defenses that target your loons. So you don't have to hurry. So if you fly a hound in there and get, you know, 3 or 4 loons on each one of those defenses going towards the middle of the base, then your loons that are coming in from the top side that you drop later, you know, you go hound or whatever, and you put in those support loons, what ends up happening is by the time your second pack of loons, here, let me change the colors. So we'll go with your first pack coming in this way, working in here, right? By the time the second drop, which is your main group of loons, comes in, these are your hounds, and then your loons will go with pink. By the time they get to these defenses, you've already cleared up to here. So what that ends up doing is pathing these loons directly onto the town hall and then through the base here. And again, inside of this core of the base, you have 1 wizard tower, you have the eagle obviously, and then 1 air defense. Nothing else can target your balloons. So you drop some more support loons down here to try to, you know, basically keep everything going this way, and then loons will get to both these compartments, and then you keep pushing them through. So again, like I laid out in my last lalo video, it's all about keeping your main pack of loons in. Let's go ahead and mark out what our path is going to be. You want to keep them in this path, and sometimes the best way to do that, like in this attack, is by using these loons first, and that way you push everything into this path, and then these loons that you're putting in this path, they kind of meet up with your support loons at around the town hall area, like right in here, and they become your main pack. And then these loons down here push in, and then they join up with your main pack of loons, and they also become part of your main pack. And by the time you get down here, as long as you've cleared here, you know, use your tome well, use your spell well, you should have an overwhelming amount of balloons to get through this back end, which is 2 scatter shots. So it's not something to kind of shirk about. Now, if you look at that path that we just created, you'll kind of see why you want these buildings here down, and you want these buildings here down. And it's kind of important to get that sweeper down, because these support loons, you don't want them to keep getting blown back. If they keep getting blown back, then what ends up happening is the loons, as they pass through this top side, end up splitting out this way, because these loons couldn't get into the base fast enough. Okay, so that's why it's important for that sweeper to go down. Now, obviously, there's one portion of the base that we haven't really made a plan for, and that is in here. So with the queen down, what Red's gonna opt to do is he's gonna send in the blimp and the E-drag and use a clone spell here. and that is going to clear out everything here. And you can see with every section of the base planned out that the eagle, you know, is kind of in between that path, but you will have loons that end up going to that eagle. But with every section of the base planned out, there is really nothing to stop you from getting in there. Sorry for the drawing. It looks like a kindergartner doing some finger painting, but I'm literally finger painting on my screen. So main pack of loons coming through here. Support loons down first for this corner, coming into here. Support loons down here, pushing in this way. Electron takes out all this. Queen and king take out all of this. And then RC down south taking out this. And that leaves everything just to end on the scatter shot and the single inferno. So we're going to take a look at how red does it. Obviously he executes it very well. He's going to have a ton of balloons left. And we're going to pay attention to some of the smaller details in these lalo attacks that often get overlooked. So 4 haste spells, 1 freeze, only bringing 1 freeze, which is, you know, different. A lot of people tend to bring like 3 freezes, but we're going to see why he only uses 1. And I've kind of already pointed out that each section of this base really only has like 2 or 3 defenses that target balloons. So you really don't need to freeze anything, because up top you're not really dealing with any splash damage because both the scatters are down south. So this goes down early. This goes down early to your support looms coming in. The next splash defense is here in the middle, and then it's down here. So you don't really need a freeze spell other than probably for the town hall. So really good recognition on kind of how to build his army composition. So he does like a double sui here. So I'm going to try to catch as much as I can. King and queen start up top, and then his RC and ice golem down here. King gets locked on by the single inferno pretty early, which sucks, but he was only really planning on getting the enemy queen anyway. And you can see his RC just chained through these buildings. Now his queen sui doesn't go as well, but he gets the enemy RC down, gets that wizard tower down. And you can see he's already testing over here for his blimp. He's going to get his lalo in, clone down early, poison over the CC, rage, everything is looking good. Balloons take out kind of everything he needed. They're going to go get that wizard tower. And then this E-Drag is going to get, yeah, I think he gets it. Yep, gets that scatter shot. So these loons should, nah. All right, so this is where we're going to look. He does a nice 2-finger drop with an early hound coming from this direction. Now, if you're looking at the pathing he's going to take, these loons are going to come into the cannon. He's got these loons coming in here. What that's going to prevent is if he would have dropped, say, 10 loons up here, they would all clumped up and kind of rode the same pathway together. So what he wants to happen is he wants these loons to come in here and then go to the air defense. He wants these loons to come in here and start clearing this way, okay? And his hound's going to just tank for all that, and you're going to see there's just not, I mean, this archer tower is already shooting his lava hound. This air defense is going to be shooting his lava hound. There's going to be no damage on his loons as he comes through here. Gets the next hound down. Now he finds a Tesla farm, so he's going to go ahead and he does a nice like 3-finger drop right here, directly targeting these Teslas. Obviously this is the Supercell Clan War League, so every attack is fresh. But with coming in here for these Teslas, having these loons down first is even more important, because if he didn't have these loons down, the pathing would be like this, which would throw off his lalo. So getting these down first, directly targeting these defenses, as these loons come in through these Teslas, they're going to keep pushing forward. Okay, then he brings in his loons from the top side. And what that's going to do is guarantee that he paths, because what you can see is the loons that he dropped up here behind his hound were targeting this defense out here. But he knew that if he dropped those delayed, that they would change pathing once that defense went down, and the nearest defense would be right here at the air defense. So that group of loons, their whole job was just to get to this air defense and get to this expo. That way everything else can path through the base. He's also got these loons coming in. Again, coming in this way. Gonna take down everything here. That way these loons can continue to pass through the base. He's got 5 more loons, probably expecting, 2 loons here or 2 loons here, depending on how that pack of loons does. But he hasn't used any of his spells yet for his lalo, keeping that nice and tight. One hound about to pop, finds a tornado. Alright, CC is active. He's going to use that freeze. Tome. Now, if he did not get these defenses down, these loons in here would not have went this way, right? So those loons that came in here and cleared these defenses saved his loons from escaping the base. So now everything is still in his channel, right? Those hounds are way down here tanking. There's only one defense that can target loons, and he's got the tome up. So he's probably going to haste in here. And these loons are going to keep riding this path. He still has 5 loons in the bag. Also notice his cleanup is already down. So right when he started the lalo, he started dropping in these minions. Still has 5 minions left, but you just see how much work just 5 minions have already done with those pups. Gets the rage down in the core. And then again, wants to keep his loons in the base, going this way. So he drops 2 loons here. Probably going to bring in some more loons because that Tesla popped. Yep, there goes extra loan. Now, this right here is kind of highlighting what I was talking about. These loans were all heading towards this Tesla and this Archer Tower. If he wouldn't have got that down with his support loons, they would have went all the way around back to the air defense. And that whole time, the air defense would have just been teeing off on his balloons. So even though it was a little bit late because of the Tesla, he planned on just getting the Archer Tower, and that only took 2 balloons. Even though it took, a second longer, you can already see these loons started to head this way. And, recognizing that, he dropped the extra balloon to get the Tesla down as well, and that stops his loons from going that way. Now everything's going straight to the center. Clears out the building down there at 4. Everything's just going into this Inferno. Inferno can't keep up. Gets the rest of his cleanup down here at 6. And these loons, he's got a ton of balloons left. Probably could have swagged both of those haste, to be honest with you, but Red 5 is not much of a swag spell kind of guy. And yep, this base was overwhelmingly crushed. So I don't want to discourage anyone from using something like a Sui Lalo. It's all about the setup, and it's all about recognizing your loon drops. It wasn't a very complicated plan. And like I said, this wasn't the greatest base in the world, but the base itself kind of, once you start developing a plan for each section, it's going to make it a lot easier to plan your lalo. So I can't, looking at this base, a great attacker with lalo can probably be like, oh, I can lalo this base right away. But as someone like myself who's not the best at lalo, if I could start making plans for each section, like how Red did, plan here, plan here, plan here. All right, now I can start seeing my pathing. I want my pathing to be like this. All right, so how do I make that pathing happen? Well, I need my loons to come in from the top, right? Well, if I come in from the top, they're going to ride out on these defenses. So I need to start here. And that way, this funnel gets cut. You're kind of funneling your loons with your loons. I think that's the hardest part about lalo, is recognizing that your loons are not just like your hogs, which are like a kill squad. They're also like funnel troops for your main attack. So, he's going to recognize, okay, I'm going to funnel here for these loons coming through here. And then I'm going to funnel here for these loons coming through here. And that's going to keep everything in my lane. And then you start doing the math. How many loons do I need here? How many loons do I need to go into this cannon? How many loons do I need for this Archer Tower? Well, if I send enough loons into this Archer Tower, I can get enough loons to come down here into this cannon. And if I send enough loons into here, I can get this Archer Tower down, right? So that's the kind of stuff that you're going to be looking at, and then you start building your army around that. So good job, Red 5 right here, or Red 6. I really like, catching up on some of his plans. Like I said, he's one of the best players I've ever played with, and he is also a fantastic clan leader. So I'm going to keep bringing you guys these, kind of out-of-pocket one-off attacks that really highlight some skillful base reading and execution. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. And again, thank you for all the support. I really appreciate everything. Take it easy, guys.